Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johan.
And joining us from the fifth Eleminute and Unlimited Live Radio, it's John Robert Wilson and Crystal Beth.
Yay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
So happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, we finally got you guys on.
Finally lassoed us in.
I've been telling Johan this ever since I kind of confirmed you guys, but this is our Weird Al moment. We are now official.
Yeah, you are.
Well, can I just say congrats to you guys, because honestly, we, as we were finishing The Fifth Elementate, we were thinking about what movie do we want to do that's not necessarily that's a single standalone movie, and then Crystal was like, Starship Troopers, and that was like the day that you guys announced that you were going to do Starship Troopers.
That's not true.
No?
No, I had Starship Troopers in dibs for a very long time in the Movies by Minutes spreadsheet, but we knew we wouldn't be able to give it enough credit. So when you guys said you were going to do it, I was like, please freaking do. And you guys have been killing it. It's an awesome podcast.
We
Thank
couldn't
you
be
guys.
prouder. We
Thank
could
you
not
guys so much.
be prouder.
Yeah, and you came in knowing way more than I ever would have. So it really works out. It's awesome.
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, that's a good place to go off. I mean, we do this for every one of our guests as well, too. We usually start by asking, when did you guys first see this movie? Was it on cable, or did you guys directly see it in the theater?
I saw it in the theaters. And
I also saw it in the theater.
It was wonderful. I remember seeing it with my dad and just being, I was still on Star Wars high, and I've always been on Star Wars high. I've never come back down. But Starship Troopers was one of the first movies I saw that gave me the same feeling as Star Wars, where it was just like really excited about everything that was going to happen. Not the same like emotional feeling or things like that, but it's just always been so good. And it was one of my dad's favorite movies too, which is nice.
Yeah. I actually worked in a theater when this movie came out and saw it the day before it came out. And I was immediately in love with this movie just because it was so campy and so, I don't know, it's like it's like a movie Quentin Tarantino would like because of how campy it is and of how extreme the political views of society
Yes.
are in the movie. Even though they take an extreme backseat to the main theme of the movie, they still like, being a citizen is incredibly important.
Yeah.
They make a point to make the viewer see that being a citizen is way more important than it is to be a citizen now.
Right. Which is so different, as you guys have said, from the book.
Yeah.
Slightly, yeah. I mean, that's another thing, too. Did you guys read the book at all beforehand, or was the movie your first foray?
The movie was my first foray, but I loved it so much that I read the book.
Oh, okay.
I did not.
And the book is not this movie. If they made the book into a movie, no one would have seen it. So
yeah.
I'm really glad that they did what they did. And it also could be because I saw the movie first, which is why I automatically felt more. I mean, the fact that Rizzo, Jesus Christ.
Rizzo.
Oh,
Wait, why Rizzo?
The fact that Dizzy was a man in the book. It's like they took all these liberties that they didn't need to take that made the movie better than the book, in my opinion.
You gotta have that, love triangle story arc that goes on in this movie,
Yeah, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I know.
Which and I hate to say it. I hate when I'm able to say, yes, it sucks that the woman's part is better because she's just following a dude. But she's following a dude and she's a badass.
Yes.
She's so good at everything she touches and does. Dizzy's the best. And it just so happened she really likes Rico. And it took, Rico losing Ibanez for him to realize that Dizzy was actually the better of the two.
Yeah, we'll actually get into it in the next couple minutes because you're going to be with us all week as well, too, where Rico kind of comes along and, sees that as well.
Ugh, I know a couple spoilers there, but
I mean, we're assuming because this is a 20-year-old movie that everyone has seen this movie, and if you're listening to this podcast, then you've already seen it, so there are no spoilers. We know what's going on. But yeah,
acknowledged.
Guys, we're at minute 69. 69, guys! Specifically, I got you guys specifically for this minute because I got George for the shower scene, and you guys, I needed to have 69. Phrasing. All right.
oh, I love it.
This minute begins with two experts duking it out and ends with the camera flying past a very, very damaged Corvette. So yeah, we get the two experts. They're not named in the movie at all, but again, this is Timothy McNeil. Yeah, no, it's just experts.
Okay.
They're
and
not
they haven't
named.
done much else.
So Timothy McNeil is the male expert, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
And to me, it's as if in the original screenplay, this part was written for a puppet. But they're like, but he auditioned for the part and he won over other puppets.
Oh yeah, I mean, he just chews up this scene so hard.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure just because he knew this was going to be his big chance.
Oh, big time.
And I know it's not in our minute, but when he's like, I find the idea of an intelligent bug offensive, and the way he yells
Offensive.
and his mouth like slacks up and he's like, ugh.
It actually is in our minute.
That is in our minute.
Oh.
But you are right, though. They'll give all that he does to the word offensive. Really, just it's perfect the way he did it, because give a bit stance of like where he comes from.
Yeah, he's like, Earth first, humans first. Everyone else is just a dumb alien bug thing, whatever.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting in the script is this scene did not exist in the script, so this was something that was that they came up with post screenplay.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think it's better for it. I think
It really is.
Okay, I think this is more of the Verhoeven feel that he has, where because he always does these commercials that kind of elevate the world, like the climbing for like the climbing for dollars type scene lets you know it's a dog eat dog type world, but this one kind of gives it that people might start to sway towards the idea that there is a brain bug.
Yeah.
So he plants that idea with this little scene.
I really like it too because it is that whole entire point and counterpoint thing where like, oh yeah, two minds are going at it. We don't know what these people are experts for, but I mean, this lady does, have ideas that as soon as a hive gets big enough, they get smart. But I mean, you and I, Johan, have been going over this idea of like how this bug society evolved and everything, and it's really weird. Like, we've gone into it really, really weirdly just because they're not all arachnids, obviously. I mean, the warrior bug is an arachnid. It does have 8 legs. The brain bug is more like a centipede, millipede, has tons of legs.
It's like a termite queen almost.
Yeah, and then everything else has 6 legs. So it's like a society that was just insect, has a different case system, and they all decided to work together. It's all symbiotic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole insect mind of this movie is really interesting, and with these two characters in particular, it's a great way to start out our minutes just because we have one guy, he is so pompous and full of himself, and then there's this lovely woman who's trying to rationalize, and I feel like that is just what's happening in this day and age in general. And the way this guy rolls his eyes and is exasperated about everything, and he's like, I find it offensive that this horrible thing could exist, when in fact it does.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like a good interpretation of the changing of guards with the Sky Marshals. Because the first one just thought like, oh, we can just blow him out. And then the other one, Maru, when she comes in, it's like, we need to understand our enemy. And then you have these two people. It really drives home what just happened. And I think that was kind of the point of it.
I think so, too. That's a great point, Johan.
I make a few.
Yeah. Broken Clark's at least wrong, right twice the time.
Yeah.
I just butchered that. That's okay. I'm keeping it in. But we get a little bit of a scene change. The FedNet, kind of does its little blurry transition, its pixely transition, and we get the view of a really messed up cruiser. And it is the old Roger Young. So, guess who's coming back, Johan?
Yeah, I know. The Carmen minutes come in periodically.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't like the Carmen minutes?
No, you know what? Actually, we actually have a nice little segment that we go through with each of our guests as well too, and we might as well do that now as well too. What is your idea and what is your thoughts on Carmen? Do you like her? Do you not like her? Because we definitely do have a regular segment or a regular title that I usually do, which is the We Hate Carmen Minute.
Yes, and John and I both love that part.
Yeah.
Because I too hate Carmen. I
yes.
think that she suits the part she needs to be, and I hate it. She is just well, it's hard for me to describe without using your words when you guys have talked about it, but going back to when I first saw it, I remember just being like, wait, so you basically willed this man into military service using your womanly charms. But she may not have realized she did it, but then halfway through training was like, oh God, this is where I want to be without you. And then this is the one time where, she goes through some stuff and she's heading back in, and she looks distraught because there's a really great cut on her eyebrow.
Oh yeah,
right. That's her.
She got
She
messed
has
up.
a really great cut,
That's battle damage.
but she's still a sociopath.
Battle damage, Carmen.
Battle damage, Carmen.
I didn't pick that one up in Toys R Us when this movie came out, unfortunately.
Yeah,
It's across her eyebrow.
She didn't get a black eye. She didn't get a bloody nose. She got a cut that just happens to intersect her eyebrow. That'll be like a really cool story later.
Yeah.
But she is the antagonist that is not the bugs.
I think Johan and I both said that, she is the linchpin to pretty much everything that has come to fruition. We actually assumed and actually have stated many times, or at least have conspiracy theories, that the bug war probably wouldn't happen if Carmen wasn't there. It's a very long stretch, but we've made connections.
I just more address her as a negative catalyst in Rico's life. Like, everything that's happened to him wouldn't have happened without her.
Right, but at the same time, playing devil's advocate, the things that he needed in his life to happen to make him who he is revolved around her.
Yeah.
So we needed her for him to be able to fulfill who he could be in the MI. And for the other things that happen scenes on that I shall not name.
Well, earlier in the series, Johan and I did have a side story fan theory, or a side story fan headcanon, where instead of Johnny joining the military, he would actually just kick Carmen to the curb, go out with Dizzy, and then him and her would go to Tokyo to pursue her professional jump ball career, and they'd have a great old time.
Well, she did have in the script, she had a scholarship to play jump ball in Tokyo, so he could have followed her.
Yeah.
So it could have been possible, but
Rico wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Rico, as the captain of his team, would not follow her to what she was doing. It would take something like this, like what he experienced through the mobile infantry, for him to understand humility and becoming a better person on the inside based off of all the crap that was going on around him.
I definitely think that could be a possibility as well, too. But I'm under the assumption that he's just, until the MI or until something kicks him in the butt, he's just a dumb kid.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's exactly it. He's a selfish 18-year-old, because that's how you are in high school, even though he looks like he's 29 years old. You have to learn who you are, and luckily in this short amount of time he finally does, but I don't know. It's his relationships with the women are crazy.
They really are. I think the only one that he has a really good relationship with is his mother, and even then that's kind of strenuous.
Yeah.
His mother that lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, no, it's Malibu. It's supposed to be
Malibu.
It's Malibu.
Sorry. My apologies.
That's where the house is, yeah.
So something that we've also been stating is that the original release of this film, like the one with the test audience, everyone hated Carmen. So they kind of re-edited certain scenes to make her more favorable. One thing I noticed when you guys were talking about that cut above her eyebrow, she's the only one that is hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody else seems fine. And I think that was to draw more pity towards the character.
Well, she needs it.
Mm.
She does. She
Interesting. I never thought of it
honestly,
like
she needs it. She broke our hero's heart after he joined the military for her.
Here's the thing. Is it, when you look at Denise Richards' face, does she have a face that's hard to trust?
Yes.
Yes.
She
Here's
does.
the thing. She, in this movie, like Neil Patrick Harris, they both rise the ranks very quickly. But just looking at it, she doesn't strike me as someone that's capable of piloting capital ships, much less airplanes.
See, I see her as a great pilot, and I see her as a bad person.
Yeah. Can I quote "The World Is Not Enough"?
Yeah,
when
go
she
for it.
was a nuclear scientist
Sure.
in that movie, and everyone, she's like, "I'm nuclear scientist." I don't remember her name.
Christmas
I would-
Jones.
Christmas Jones.
Yeah, there's a joke that comes with it. That Christmas came twice this year.
Came twice this year.
It's the only thing that made her character memorable was that he made a joke about her name. Post-sex.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's my point is it's hard to take her seriously, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's sort of the case for this role too. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and Johan and I, during the whole entire her training and her rising up in the ranks, we've, especially during the undocking sequence, it really bugged me because everything she does should have gotten her flight status revoked, but everyone's just like, no, keep doing what you're doing, you're cool. And we just figured that no matter what, she's just gonna, I mean, I don't even know if it's plot armor. We just assumed that like everyone in the fleet is like this. So it's just a fleet and an army and everyone is just full of like people just like Carmen. So I don't like, Xander is a creep who like was really wanting the booty, and he saw her rising through the ranks and then decided to quote unquote get her surprised and get her in the seat next to him. But I mean, that's definitely a thing that he did to get her there. It wasn't just, yeah.
I think, and I've always thought that it wasn't necessarily that, because Xander is so pretentious. I never saw him as someone that was helping Denise Richards get to where she needed to be. He wasn't helping Carmen. I think he honestly was helping himself, but he didn't realize that she was a better pilot than he was. I think he thought he was amazing, or that's always how I thought it when I was watching the movie, where he thought he was just the best at what he did, and he's giving this little tiny girl a hand, but it turned out that she was better than he was.
Yeah, but he can also be manipulative in thinking that he can rein her in, which actually reveals itself later on. It's a little bit of a secret, but I'll hold it till next minute.
I was on the other side where I just thought Carmen was just the whole entire like the evil person in this, because not only did she have Johnny under her thumb, but she also had Xander. With her, the whole entire little sly, your career's in my hands kind of thing. When he was saying, "Oh, flight status is going to be revoked, and so is yours if you do anything wrong." So she knows, and she's like got him.
But that's exactly it, where he thinks that he is doing this tiny flight school girl a favor, when in fact she's a better pilot, at which point she turns around and is like, oh, your career's in my hands. And he's like, well, don't mess it up. And that's where he's like, wait, maybe she might be better than me at what we're doing.
Gotcha.
And it's my opinion where that is. And I'm basically just fighting that and not what you guys are talking about. But it's just... both of them are not good people, and it just like, Fleet is the worst.
It's full of girls. I mean, well, it's mostly full of girls just because girls are better pilots in the world as well, too. And, yeah. I mean, people like, as I said, the Fleet is probably full of Carmens. People just like her.
Yeah. And that's, the interesting thing with that is, even in the book, which is crazy for when this book came out, they were saying that females are the best pilots, but they would still say in the book, females are the best pilots, but they're not the most level-headed.
Yeah. Like, I mean, in the very first, because I just reread the whole entire book again, I usually do at least twice a year, but at the very beginning of it, Rico was saying, oh, I trust the captain so much to like get us directly on the mark and then pick us up again, no problem. She's like an amazing person. Yeah. But I think the only time he actually respects her is just because she's a great pilot.
It's true. And she's very good at what she does. She's just also very good at hurting every single person around her.
Yeah. But we continue on and we see pretty much not only the Roger Young is destroyed, or not destroyed, but damaged, but pretty much every single Corvette on...
Yeah, there's even like active explosions happening still.
That's what I'm wondering too. Why aren't there like, like command and control or even like damage control people just like putting out fires? Like, this is way too much damage, man.
It's way more complicated than that. Fires in space? Oh, man.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The fact that there are explosions happening in space where there's no oxygen is crazy.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys have watched a little show that I have brought up so many times, a little show called Star Trek, but there are things called plasma fires that do not need oxygen.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm assuming because we got shot with plasma from plasma bugs.
Yep. Looks like he's got our weens in a vice.
But yeah, I mean, that definitely did bug me as well, too. I mean, explosions and stuff in space, especially the sounds and everything, too,
Yeah.
Also, at the 25-second mark, we do see that ship that we've always been discussing as what it could possibly be for. And it looks like it's a little tugboat pulling... like ships to taxi into its dock if it's unable to do so in its own power. Yeah,
there's two of them actually.
Yep, but you see it there on the top left, towing in one of the Corvettes in.
Yeah, I've looked these up many times. These are auxiliary ships, and they are like modular. They can carry cargo, but they're heavy-duty haulers, basically.
I never noticed that before. That one was hauling another one.
There's actually three of them. So one of them is hauling a small like half of a ship. The other one's hauling one that has its engines completely cut off, and then one's hauling another one that's like backwards and like has most of its back end just completely gone.
Oh wow, yeah.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, we saw it a much earlier minute trying to figure out at first like what it was for, because you couldn't tow supplies because it would be directly behind the thrusters. But then this one we can actually see there's just a towing ship, like a little tugboat.
Yeah, and the engines are modular. Where I'm getting the information from is usually the Starship Troopers Wikia, and it's not very... I mean, anyone can edit stuff, and I've edited a few things as well too myself. But the ship itself, yeah, is definitely modular. It can move its engines around to fit its certain purpose. It's just called the auxiliary ship. But yeah, so all these ships as well too, including the Ticonderoga station, are all models as well too. They're not CG or anything like that. The only part that is CG or green screened is space and those planets behind them.
This makes me want to build models.
So much more real.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, so Johan and I have been discussing this, and because you guys did the Fifth Element, That movie came out in 97 too, and that had a few models as well, like the taxi cab and a couple of, and I believe Lost in Paradise, the ship as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, 97 was just a amazing year for movies.
It really was. Was it, I think, Volcano? Like, that came out too. All the movies like that.
Yeah.
It's just like the most
Volcano.
ridiculous.
Yeah, we talked about Volcano at the last minute. I am not a fan of disaster movies. I can't get into them.
I love Volcano.
Matt
Such a
loves
good
it.
movie.
Oh my God. Volcano is so good.
Yeah. I mean,
It is such bad digital effects when you look back, but I remember watching the guy die when he jumped off the back of the subway. And just his legs start melting. I was like, oh my God, this is so real. And then I watched it like 4 years later and I was like, well, this is terrible.
My favorite is the fluid lava in the subway when they're trying to figure out when it's going to get to the Beverly Center. And it looks like just like some weird 4 or 5 pixelated version of like lava. You can definitely see like all the like the edges of the pixels and everything, but it's so like 97 CGI. It's gross.
Yeah, which is crazy that Starship Troopers looks so good still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even the bugs, they look real. I'm terrified of them all the time.
Yeah, it holds up big time.
I mean, we've again touted that just because most of the stuff like that looks still good. Besides the night shots, like on our last couple minutes on Clendathu, the night shots covered up a lot of the CGI, but a lot of the close-up shots, like of the FedNet correspondent getting cut in half or Sujumi getting his leg chopped off, were actually giant puppets. And those close-up shots, you know, I mean, they had like either the big head of it or a full-sized warrior on a crane as well, too, that could be maneuvered and needed like 8 people to control it as well too. But physical props, physical things in movies still make things look great, which is why like if you watch like say episode 1, The Phantom Menace, everything looks kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's just use practical effects. You're going to be happier with what it is.
It's expensive, but I mean, whatever. But one thing I will say about practical effects, especially when we stop pretty much at the end of our minute, which is at 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 59 seconds, we are definitely passing a burnt out Corvette, and it looks like it's just melted plastic. I have a few things on top of it. The conning tower. I mean, I can definitely tell what looks like melted plastic because I used to burn plastic constantly as a little kid. So I know that like bubbled, you know, surface, that charred, bubbly surface kind of thing, especially when you blow it out real quick, you get this little charredness on it. And yeah, I mean, there have been many fighter planes and many battleships that have unfortunately paid their price and, you know, are now buried or thrown away. And yeah, I did a lot of damage.
The damage is so great, though. You're surprised why they're still in one piece. It's like someone took a massive sword and kind of just sliced through them.
Yeah. But that's really where our minute ends, where we see all the rest of these, you know, ships coming in.
Matt, no, I can't let something Carmen says let go.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so there's that scene where Xander says, like, how did this happen? And then Carmen says, we thought we were smarter than the bugs. The thing is she's throwing in his face something that was told to her about her comment saying that she was smarter than the bugs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
When she talks to Rue McClanahan, where she says, but we've mastered space travel and literature and blah, blah, blah. Thinking that their race is smarter than the bugs, and now she realizes she's wrong. Instead of just saying, like, I thought we were smarter than bugs too, she says, like, well, no, the reason why is because I know this knowledge you don't. When
she's flip-flopping.
Yep.
Another reason to hate Carmen.
Channeling Rue.
Yeah, we can't have a minute without driving home a point of how much we hate Carmen.
What about you, John? What do you think about Carmen?
She's the worst.
She's really a dry presence in the whole movie. Really dry. Dry.
Goodness.
It's like that toast of bread when you're having a completely separate meal that doesn't need bread. It's like, why do I have this? I guess
bread when you're having like a chicken pot pie with extra bread in it.
You're like, I think I'll eat a bite. It wasn't very good, but it's now going to exist on this table with my meal, I guess.
And not only that, but you also have soup crackers on the side.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this right now, go to Popeye's Chicken, your nearest one. Get 4 biscuits and eat all of them in a row, and you'll be on the same page as us.
without any honey and without the beans and rice.
Yeah, of course.
That just gets weird, but I understand what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I realized this about myself. I have to endorse a fast food restaurant in every podcast that I do.
Well, Popeyes isn't a bad one. I mean,
It's not.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
It's way better than KFC.
It's fine.
Yeah, it is. Way better.
I mean, I won't, discredit the $5, the $5 bowls at KFC. Those are good in a pinch.
Sure.
Yep.
We're
But-
on the same page.
But if I had a choice, and they usually are right next to each other in my my neck of the woods, if they are next to each other, I will definitely pick Popeyes over KFC.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the one right next to Matt is across the street from each other.
Well, I think the other one also is it's a KFC slash Pizza Hut.
Oh. Those are weird.
I know. And then there's a Taco Bell
Yum
right down the
Brands.
way too.
Yeah.
Yum
Oh
Brands.
my God, Taco Bell.
Yum
It's-
brands.
I have not been to Taco Bell, and I know you guys are probably going to hate me for this, but I have not been to Taco Bell in about a year and a half.
Ooh.
We won't hate you.
Well,
Just think
you know
less of
why?
Slug us in the gut, Matt.
You know why? Because Johan and I both live in California, and
Okay.
we can get so much better Mexican food.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
watch your mouth.
What?
Oh, no. I can go down the street from my house right now. There is a taco stand that is open until 2 in the morning, and they will serve me straight up regular street tacos, given to me by a floodlight. Those are amazing tacos,
Yeah.
and I only have to pay like $1.
Yeah, on Taco Tuesdays, they had the 3 for 99 cents.
Oh
And
my
they're
gosh.
fan-freaking-tastic.
That sounds
All
so
right.
good.
Looks like we have to come to California.
Yeah,
Yep.
you definitely do. But guys, that's where that minute ends. Does anyone else want to say anything particular about this minute?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good too.
Yep, all right.
Well, Johan, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch and Instagram at JDASHD26. You can also find me on Twitter at OMG It's Johan.
Crystal, John, where can they find you guys?
Sure. So you can find our podcasts, The Fifth Eleminute and Unlimited Lives Radio on iTunes. And you can follow me on social media at The Crystal Beth. And you can follow John on Twitter at John Robert Wilso. Not Wilson, because there wasn't enough numbers.
Wasn't enough.
Never enough numbers, wasn't enough letters.
One of letters.
Characters.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right, Crystal. And if you're really super duper bored and need more content, I also stream from time to time on twitch.tv/John Robert Wilson.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us in this first minute. Can we get you guys to come back the next few minutes?
Yes.
You have a gun to our
100%.
heads. We have no other choice.
Yes. Well, guys, I've been actually, you guys can find us at the Roughneck Minute. I'm sorry, you guys can find us at the Roughneck Min on Twitter. MIN. You guys can also follow us on our Facebook group, the Roughneck Minute Billet, BILLET, to continue the conversation and talk about various other things like why you hate Carmen, because we always have that conversation in that one. You can also go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com, to get any past episodes or show notes. I'll have to edit that because that sounded stupid.
No, keep it in.
No, I'm going to take it out. But please go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or any other podcatcher you guys can find. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
I've been your other host, Johan.
And I've been John Robert Wilson.
And I've been Crystal Beth.
And we'll see you on the bounce, troopers.
Birds